How's Bold going?
It's going so good.
Yay, that's great.
Thank you. Yeah, we've got currently the #2 most productive Bold room in the country.
Oh, that's
so
really
our
good.
agents are really rocking it.
In terms of appointments?
In terms of contracts.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And Karen Smythe.
Oh! Hello, everybody. So
Hello,
I think I
Karen.
know everyone in the room. Yay. Very good.
Yeah, with that.
I am super duper.
All right. See
Okay.
y'all.
So you guys came here today because you want to improve your business and you want to leverage time. You want to be able to be the most productive you can be, right? One of the things we're going to talk about is how is it that Ben Kinney has shared all these secrets that he's had over the last 14 years, learned from all the things that he did wrong at the beginning, and now improve your business by taking the things that he's doing right? So the first thing we try to talk about when we do this is what can you control? So I'm going to ask you guys, tell me, what is it that you can control?
Thank you. Time you spend lead generating.
Your time, lead gen. Okay, what else? Quiet group here today.
Running around town with clients.
Okay, so your time showing houses. What else can you control in life?
Attitude.
Your attitude. Is that it?
Everything. Emotions, mental state.
Your emotions, your mental state.
How you respond to certain situations.
Your responses. Can you control your spouse's response? Can you control your client's response? No. Right, so if we look at this and we look at it from a triangle perspective and we focus on, this is the 4 things we can control in life. This is what Ben Kinney has taught us in the success triangle. You are able to control first and foremost how you think. Can anyone make you think a certain way? People can give you input, they can give you ideas, you can learn from them, but no one can make you think a certain way. Specifically, for instance, if you're a prisoner of war and you're in this location and there's nothing that you can do to control your outside, you can certainly control what's going on in your head, and that's how people have said that they've survived. They've created whatever fantasy or affirmation in their head about the world that they're in, and they have then produced survival. So think about, if you would like to be successful, you think about becoming successful. You think about the patterns of success, the habits of success. If you allow negative thoughts to come into your head, then that's what's going to come out. So as a practice, try doing this for the next 24 hours. Whenever a negative thought comes into your head, try to bash it out. So I want to make a judgment about what that person's wearing. Don't go there. No negative judgment, right? I want to get angry about something. Stop. Only positive thoughts. And you literally have to work at it to the point where then the body starts to get used to this hitting, and it just wants to think positive thoughts. This is the basis. Why do you think it's at the base of this triangle?
It's most important.
It's the most important thing. If you think, so you shall be. If you think it shall happen, it will. So if you are thinking positive, wonderful thoughts, you will have those in droves, right? The law of attraction, have you ever heard of that? But if you're allowing yourself to think negatively and the glass is always half empty and things are bad, things are happening to me, you're not thinking in a positive mindset. It's all about mindset here, right? And there are a million classes, a million things you can do on mindset. I'm leaving tomorrow to go see Tony Robben speak. And all he talks about is mindset, what you think of yourself. What part do you want to remove of yourself that allows negative thoughts to come in and allows the fear to come in? Are you all capable of making millions and billions of dollars?
Yes.
Absolutely. So when we think about making money and earning money, some people have a block. Well, I'm not old enough to make that kind of money. I'm not skilled enough. I'm not good enough. Remove those barriers and think that you will, and therefore you shall. This is in your control. Okay? The next part of this is how you spend your time. If we all have the same 24 hours in a day, why are some people more successful than others?
Time management.
Time management. So when you drove here today, possibly you drove with a lot of other people, but when you drive somewhere to and fro an hour, what are you listening to in the car? That's not a rhetorical question. What are you seriously listening to in the car?
Pump up music.
Okay, so pump up music, Katie, and how many times a day are you listening to pump up music?
At the gym and in the car.
Yeah. And when do you find time to educate yourself?
Sometimes I read.
And so you can't do that in the car, but there are things like Audible and podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
And so as you're trying to insert these ideas and thoughts, there's just so much that we can take the time that we have and leverage it. This is one small piece of that. You're already making the drive. Make that drive more beneficial. We talked about this today, right? You wanted to take a couple webinars.
Yes.
You don't have to be sitting in front of your computer to take a webinar. You can listen to the webinar, and then later on you can duplicate it again in person. Utilize your time to the best that you can. Why else are some people more successful than others? Well, we all have the same amount of time every day. Why are other people more successful?
They don't spend time with time wasters.
They don't spend time with time wasters. Have you ever seen someone who comes in and they're hanging out by the water cooler, and then you walk in and you see the person at the water cooler and you go, whoa, gotta go. Because that person's gonna suck me dry, and they're time suckers, right? Or the phone call comes in and it's mom, and when you talk to, no offense to mom, but when you talk to mom, it's gonna take 16 hours to get off the phone, and I'm focused on what I'm doing. When we talk about time blocking, Cooper, it's called blocking, isn't it?
Yes.
So, do you play sports? Okay, do you know what hockey, when someone's blocking somebody? Don't let anyone else in. And do you let other people in? Do you let distractions come into your time? When we say time blocking, are you really blocking? Are you really blocking?
I am a high DI, and there's times of the days where I am less productive in my business, and so I time block that as my social time. So sometimes I need 15 minutes and I'll walk around the office because I need to let off steam and I need my brain to get a break. However, it's part of my day, and then when I get back to my business, I'm better in my business.
Fantastic. We call those gaps, right? Transition gaps. So if you say, well, I'm going to commit to making an hour's worth of calls, but after that I have to get up because I need to rotate around the office to change my dynamic, to come back and be rejuvenated for the other. When you say I'm going to make 2 or 3 hours of lead gen calls in one day, that's a lot of chunk, right? We should maybe think about saying I'm going to commit to 30 minutes and then I'm going to get up and do this and I'm going to do 30 minutes. And that way you've got your phone off, or you've got your Facebook off, or whatever distraction you have. But part of that is also saying no to people. Because whatever you're saying yes to, you're saying no to something else. So when you say yes to lead gen, that means you're saying no to socializing with Katie, who just came around the bend and wants to talk to me.
That happens.
But you know what happens? It's the other way too. If I'm going to go to my child's event, I'm saying no to going out and taking buyers. But if I'm going to do an open house on Saturday, it's because I'm saying no to hanging out with my friends. I'm saying yes to my future. This is about making a decision. What do you want? Yeah. This is the crux. Are you ready for the biggest secret of all?
Write this down.
Are you ready? Write this down. This is if you take one thing out of here right now. Especially if you're under 30. Especially if you're under 40. Especially if you're under 50.
Keep going.
Especially if you're under 50. We have a lot of life to lead. We happen to be the oldest 2 people in the room, right? I believe that if you want to have a comfortable life later, you have to be uncomfortable now. And you have to decide to be uncomfortable now. You have to say to yourself, and it's a window. Maybe it's a year, maybe it's 2 years, but I'm going to live uncomfortably. When I say uncomfortable, the clock doesn't start ticking until you actually live 2 years of discomfort. I remember having my child doing open houses with a small baby with a stroller in a carrier, and going from there to a buyer's appointment, going from there, dropping off, and barely making my marriage last. And those were what I call the uncomfortable years, right? I was hustling, and all I cared about was my family and my business, my family and my business. My friends took a back seat, my health took a back seat. I'm not saying this is perfect. I'm just trying to tell you that you have the ability to do everything you want in this business, but you cannot assume it's going to come easily and come out of the sky. The deals aren't going to fall out of the sky. The 2 of you are moving here from another state. You're going to have to hustle if you want to make a deal happen, right? You're going to have to pick up the phone and call people. Dwayne, you had a different career before. You had a different setup. You were more engaged than I've ever seen you, right? Because you know what it's going to take for you to hit your goal. If your goal is 12, You're going to have certain habits that lead with, I'm gonna do 12 deals this year and those are the habits I'm gonna have. If your goal is 36, you're gonna have different habits. Guess what? You cannot have the, I'm gonna have 12 deals this year. Habits, what is it? I can't have champagne on a beer menu or whatever, what's the?
Beer budget.
Right. It's the same thing, guys. I see a lot of people, they walk into real estate, okay, I'm gonna say this as a testimonial. I had an agent from another company call me last night, ask for my help. I said, what's going on? She said, well, I'm not getting anywhere. I've only done 2 deals this year. And it's almost December and I wanna know what I'm doing wrong. I said, well, tell me what you're doing with your time. How are you leveraging your time? And she says, well, I make my dials every day. I don't know what time she wakes up, but she makes her dials from 9 to 11. I said, great. What are you doing after that? She said, well, that's it. I said, what are you doing for the rest of the day? What are you doing when you go to bed at night? That's a long time. Well, that's what my coach said, that's what I should do. And I have a Tom Ferry coach, so I thought they were highly prestigious. Hold up. What are you paying for your coach? I pay $12,000 a year. So here's someone who's liquidated her financials. She is now in the hole on money. She spent $12,000 in 1 year because she's with a different company that uses a trainer that is telling her that 9 to 11 is enough dialing and enough conversations that you're done. I said, well, how many dials are you making? How many phone calls are you actually picking up the phone? She says, I make 35 on average. On average means that you actually sometimes make less. I said, well, we average 150 dials a day. And we believe that in order to have a big business, we have to have those dials every single day. That's gonna give us an average of 20 real estate conversations. So if you only have 35 dials, how many conversations are you having? She says, well, sometimes I have 1 or 2. Okay. I said, so you're doing just about right. I said, your activities are giving you 2 deals this year. That's exactly what you did. You put in 3 hours. I said, what did you have a job before real estate? She said, yeah, I had a really good job. I was an administrative assistant at a place. I said, well, how many hours did you work during the day? She said, well, I worked 9 to 5, normal 8 hours. I said, well, what makes you think you should work less here? Why should you go down? In fact, I think you should be working 12 and 13 hours, and don't call me again until you do. Just kidding. I said, when are you ready to
You're not.
take the business to the next level? You want to be a successful real estate agent, you're going to have to be smart about how you work. I'm not asking you to work more hours. I'm asking you to spend your time being efficient. If you're going to go and have a workout, I want you to grab your calendar and look at it every week on a Sunday. Here's your Sunday calendar. Here's your Sunday, and you say, okay, here's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Sarah Miller is a perfect example of this. If I go look on our calendar, it's almost 100% filled with different things. She even has when I'm putting my kid down to bed, when I'm waking up, when I'm exercising, when I'm making my call, what breakfast my time is. She blocks it all out. Now, does she get distracted? Heck yes. But she's at least got a game plan. She's got a floor plan, a roadmap. Have you decided what's important to you in your life that you are not going to change? What's a deal breaker for you? What's a deal breaker for you? Every week.
Every week?
Every week or every day. What is absolutely going to have to happen?
Push deals along. I really have to
Follow up. Okay.
Yeah.
So if we say that lead gen is in the morning, then we say we have to have 2 hours of follow up every single day in the afternoons. So that means we're not doing follow up in the morning during lead gen. Does that make sense? You can't say yes to something and then sit and say yes to something else at the same time. You have to say yes to one thing at a time. So if your lead gen's in the morning, then you have to have follow up every afternoon. Can you commit to that?
Absolutely.
Can you put it in your calendar and not let anything come in between that?
Hard to do.
Why? Tell me how it's hard.
Invariably something comes up that takes precedence, or that I know, okay, I can't get in touch with this client, this lawyer, because they're in a closing, so I'll maybe push that call in the morning or 6 p.m.
Right.
and do something else in that
So you see what's happening?
Substitute.
The first step towards rehabilitation is understanding that there's a problem.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
Self-awareness is the first step towards anything. Emotional intelligence. I either have someone bring it to my attention or I self-discover. Most of the time someone brings it to your attention. You messed up. You did something wrong. You're self-discovering that you're allowing distractions to come in. You're self-discovering that you and I both know that you're fully capable of following the plan that you created on Sunday night of who to call back that week, right? Don't you open up your computer and it tells you who to call that day, right? If you set up your procedures. But somehow it looks really good that someone's got cookies over here, squirrel! It's celebrating! I'm just gonna go celebrate someone's birthday over here. You see what happens? Because we don't want to do the uncomfortable stuff. And what did I say to you at the beginning? You better get really comfortable with being uncomfortable, because in the uncomfortable is the ability for you to have a comfortable life later. Here's the deal, if you have a comfortable life now, you're going to be poor later. Which one would you rather have? Who here makes time to exercise? Raise your hand. Okay. Those of you who don't, you can either make time to exercise now, or you can make time for doctor's appointments later. So again, which one would you rather have? You see, it's a yes or a no. You can't have yes to both. So decide that you want to get healthy. Decide that you want to spend time with your kids. Decide that you want to... I ask people, I say, well, how much TV are you watching? Do you guys want to do a 15-minute increment analysis? Ben Kinney, one of the first things we did when we first got on the team is he said, I want you to write down what you're doing every 15 minutes for 3 days. Right, Sarah? What did that feel like?
Lovely.
So
No, it was eye-opening.
So he asked us to write down what we were doing for 15 minutes for 3 days. Now, just the simple fact of you writing something down every 15 minutes made you pay attention to what you were doing, right? But even then, I was floored. When I got these papers back, I was floored. I said, well, Jane, what did you do here? This is a 3-hour block that you just have like scratched. What does that mean? Well, I went home and fed my dog and watched my dog and relaxed. And I said, between 2 and 5 in the afternoon. Yes? You do that again the next day. Well, yeah, that's what I do. I go home every day from 2 to 5 and I walk my dog and I get everything ready and I get, okay. You know you're clocking yourself, but you're wondering why your habits, your atomic habits, that's another great book to read, why your habits are not leading you to the success that you want. Man.
What was the biggest aha you had in your calendar?
I had big general chunks and nothing specific. So, and I wasn't blocking for exercise. So Karen 6 months ago was a totally different person. So when we were doing this exercise a year ago and 2 years ago and even 6 months ago, I was like, I'll just exercise on the fly. I'll get it where I can get it. The gym's open 24 hours, right? And I wasn't making it a priority. And I realized later, and this is something else, that if you want to exercise and you believe in stability of your body, if you don't put it in your calendar, it doesn't get done. What's the bold law, Cara?
If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist.
If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. If it's not in your calendar, it doesn't exist. So for me, what changed, another triangle, this is another Ben Kinney class. The basis of your whole self is your physicality. If you are not properly getting sleep, hydration, who can speak to this? Who can testify?
Yeah.
If you're not getting sleep, hydration, eating properly, or exercising, the rest of your life crumbles. You do not have a good foundation or a base. How many people are running through trying to become really successful real estate agents, and they're overweight, they're hypertensive, they're diabetic, they're doing all these things, they're not getting enough sleep, they look ragged, but making a lot of money, right? So if you can't start here, you cannot climb up this triangle. You cannot climb up the pyramid, right? The next one is emotional. What happens is if you haven't gotten enough sleep or enough to eat, or you are not exercising and you're not feeling whole about yourself, you're more likely to crack and snap on your clients, crack and snap on your spouse, be really mean to other people. Your emotional intelligence is your ability to control your emotions. We go from there to your mental state. If you're not physically whole and you're not emotionally stable, you will learn nothing. This is your ability to learn. This is clarity and focus. How can I be clear? How can I go to coaches' skills camps for 3 days and be super clear if I'm hungry, cranky, I haven't slept well, and I'm not exercising?
Best of luck.
I can't focus. I can't learn anything. And therefore, how can I lead? How can I take my client? When my client calls, I don't want to talk to them because now I'm fried. When you have all this in line, then you go to spiritual. and you become in what we call peace and purpose. How many of you have experienced this, that when you're grounded, all of a sudden your deals start to fall together, somehow magically everything's working out? It's not magic, guys. It's the energy you're putting into it. It's because you're saying, and we have this, we fell into it, right? Mm-hmm. You're saying that I am now grounded, I am emotionally controlled, I have clarity, and I'm very focused about what I want, and all of a sudden these things are coming together, and that's coming into the universe. This is super important. This all ties into how you spend your time. So if you believe that spending some time exercising will help you block out that time, will help you base yourself for the rest of the day, then block it right now. I made the decision to block it at 5:30 in the morning. Like, I'm 46 years old, you guys. If someone had ever told me to block 5:30 to 6:30 in the morning for exercise, I would have been like, you've lost your mind. Do you know how much I love sleep? What happened was I had to then back off my nighttime. I had to cut TV out of my life, and we're still friends, but we only see each other on the weekends. And I had to decide that I was going to bed at hard stop 10 o'clock. I have 2 alarms. One's on my phone, it says it's 10 o'clock, get to bed. Sometimes I go to bed at 8 or 9, believe it or not, and I'm not even 60 yet. I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, no discussion. I don't want to be there, there's no discussion. I'm up. Sadly, on the weekends, I get up naturally that time now. So that's a 6 month. Now, have you seen my arms? Have you seen how I feel about myself? Have you seen, is there, am I nicer?
Yes.
I mean, I know I'm nicer. I didn't know that was right.
She is nicer. She's less stressed.
I'm less stressed, and I would take my stress out on them, and I would be like, who's late? Who's not here? Why is all this stuff not being done? You can only control yourself. I can control how I think, and I can control how I spend my time. I can control who I spend my time with, Tammy. I can pick and choose the people that I want to be around. You want to be around a top producer? What do they say? Dress for the part you want. Hang out with the people that you want to be friends with. Didn't you want to be popular in high school and you always looked at, what are those girls wearing? I want to go over there, right? I'm making a joke. It's not really that, but it's, if you want to live a life of success, you go and you research those people that are doing it. You emulate them. You surround yourself with people that are pushing you. Write down on a piece of paper, who are the 5 people I spend the most amount of time with on a weekly basis. Write down, who are the 5 people you spend the most amount of time with? Dwayne, that's probably going to say Dory, isn't it?
Here lately, you're
She's
right.
one of mine.
Right.
Here lately.
That's not a bad list. I'll
I
tell you
know.
that. If that's on your list, that's not a bad list.
Oh no, I'm at 4. Oh wait.
And yeah, if you don't have enough people that you're spending time with, as a real estate agent, we're supposed to spend time with people. So if we're not spending time with people, or sometimes I have people come in here and they don't have anyone to put down at all, and they say, well, I work from home, and I'm not married, and so I never leave the house. Well, why are you trying to be a real estate agent? You know, I mean, decide.
Yeah.
Because it's a people job at the end of the day. We actually have to communicate. So, who are the 5 people? How do you feel about them?
It's mostly just my family.
Okay, are they blowing your mind?
No.
Great! You gotta look down that piece of paper and say, is someone blowing my mind? Now, you can't just have yes men on there. Is someone challenging me? Is someone inspiring me? Am I scared of something and I see someone else do it and I'm like, I want to be around that, right? A lot of people ask me, why did you join the Ben Kinney team? I thought you were a force to be reckoned with yourself. Why would you go do that? You had a phenomenal business. Why would you become a 50-50 partner with the Ben Kinney team? Anybody have any thoughts on that?
Who is Ben Kinney?
He's Ben Kinney.
Well, yeah, but of course, but to grow as a person.
100%.
And just to grow.
If I lived my life, I've made money and I know how to live with less and I know how to live with more, and it's not about the money, because I can live scaling back. I enjoy my life, but I can scale back. So it's not about the money, and I also know that I can sell real estate, so I know I can do it on my own or whatever. I like being around a community. I enjoy making my who as big as it can be, and I like having people that are better than me in my who. It's really painful. I'm super competitive. I have to rub shoulders with people that are doing much more business than I am. And at the same time, it motivates me because it means that, girl, you got a lot you can do.
If they can do it, we can do it.
That's right. I am not, it doesn't upset me. I wanna be around people and I wanna like look up to them and go, that's amazing. And then I find out someone thinks I'm amazing and that makes me, blows my mind, right? Cause I'm just doing what I'm supposed to be doing, right? I wanna be around that,
If
so.
they have the 5 closest people around you that you want to be like.
Yes, you're
and
the
you
average
know,
of the
'cause
5
who
people.
you associate with is who you are.
So with that said, look down on your list. Does anyone wanna share anything they wanna make, any kind of change, or how they feel about their list? Tell us.
Oh, I don't, okay. Don't, no one's allowed to look at it. I thought I would feel better about my list. And now I'm like, well, one, I feel a little lonely, one, but 2, I'm like, oh, interesting.
Okay, so think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I know why you're saying that.
Mm-hmm.
Can I speak?
Without names, yeah, you
Yeah.
may.
If you, I'll just speak about the same concept. The young lady who called me yesterday asking me to help her, I said, who are you spending time with? I went through the list with her. I go, what do you think of yourself? How are you spending your time? Who are you spending your time with? I literally went through this list with her. And she said, well, I said, do you script practice? And she said, I most certainly do. Every single day I have a rotating script practice partner. We do 3 scripts. We have 3 of us and we talk at 7:45 every single day and I'm really proud to say that. And I said, well, who are your script partners? She said, they're all agents in my office. I said, are they all brand new agents? She said, yes ma'am. And I said, I said, the blind leading the blind. And she paused and I said, who's giving you the scripts? Who's holding you accountable? She said, well, we just picked up these scripts online? Oh, do they work? Who created the scripts? Where'd they come from? Was it a really top agent? Was it just something you found on the internet? How do you know you're even reciting the right scripts? Do you know if you're saying them correctly? Do you guys ever have script practice with someone else? Do you network in your office? Do you know everybody who's in your office? Do you walk around and some of the top producers and ask them 15 minutes of their time? Are they willing to give you 15 minutes of their time? Well, you're in the wrong office if they're not. Do you see the difference? If you are not in a space where you want to elevate everyone around you, you're not in the right space. That's the Keller Williams space. We believe that you should be as good as this person, as good as this person, as your best self. So we're not going to walk by you and say, you're doing something wrong. We're not going to walk by and go, that's okay that he's doing something wrong. We're going to help them. So if you surround yourself with all brand new agents that are just like you, you're only going to get as far as that. It doesn't have to be every day, but just sprinkle in a little bit of love, right? Does that make sense? And here, the last one is on money. And it's not about how you make your money. That's not what I'm concerned with. Because you know you can control making your money, right? You can make as much money as you want to make based on how you work. It's really, are you able to control and do you have a handle on how you spend money? November 15th, I'm teaching a class called Wealth Building. I invite you guys to come. It's from 2 to 4. It specifically talks about how are you spending your funds. We have a shift coming. Do you have a budget? Are you so aligned that you know how you're going to have your money make money for you? Or are you going to be working until you're 85? In a pleasurable, in a non-pleasurable state, right? Okay. So does that help you guys understand when we talked about leverage? Okay. I'm going to go to the next section now. This is something that I came up with when I was started to teach. So I've been doing this for 13 years, and so ideas come to me, and sometimes they come to me before I've ever taught them, and then later on someone teaches something that I had thought about, and I was like, wow, I thought about this. So this is something I came up with, and I think it works. Is anybody here dissatisfied with the amount of work that with their results this year? Fatima, Brandy, Katie. Okay. Are you comfortable with, the rest of you are comfortable with the amount of time you put in for the results you've gotten? You're not. Tell us a little more.
I think I have a hard time turning business away, turning it down. I just turned some down this week that just wasn't in my wheelhouse. Normally I say, well, okay, there's a $20,000 or $50,000 fee here. But the time that would have taken me out of much higher producing efforts.
Okay.
And time spent.
So you're learning how to say no to something that is going to make you less money. Can I ask you a question? It's Graham, right? No, it's Graham's your son.
Yeah,
Steve.
I'm Steve.
You're Steve, yeah. Steve Massey.
Myself.
Sorry. But I was so close.
Very close.
Okay. Progress. Can I ask you a crazy question?
Sure.
Did you refer that business out?
I did.
And you're gonna get paid on that?
No, it was a pro bono. I mean, a car.
That's fine. But either way, you didn't let that slip through the cracks.
No.
And you get that concept.
Yeah.
That's a fabulous example of someone saying, I'm going to leverage my time. Because I want you to write down right now, what is my hourly rate? What's my hourly rate?
Like,
As a real estate agent?
commission or?
No, what's
Okay.
the amount that you're worth per hour?
150 plus.
So one way to calculate it is that you take how much you made this year. Let's say you made 40 grand this year, okay? And you divide 40 grand into 52 weeks, or 365 days, whatever you wanted to do. Or, you know, I like to do 52 weeks, because I actually do 50 weeks, and then I decide, you know, like, you break it down to how many hours did you work that week? I worked 40 hours. So, or the other way to do it is you do, 50 weeks times 40 hours is how much?
3,000.
And then that's, you divide 40K by 3,000, and then you figure out what your hourly rate is, right? So, if you guys are about to decide to go do something, I want you to do this. Write down on a piece of paper, 6 a.m., 7 a.m., all the way up to 10 p.m. Okay? Write out a day. And every single day, you're gonna have to make a decision about how to leverage your time, right? Sarah, would you drive to Cumming to drop off a lockbox?
Would I,
Yeah,
at this moment?
yes, at this moment.
Yes.
Yeah, and how happy would I be with that decision? Not happy. What's the turnaround time on that?
Probably 2
2 hours. And what's your hourly rate again? What are you worth again?
More than that.
Interesting. So, I believe that Sarah could have made a couple phone calls and gotten that taken care of, either for free or for minimal cost. But for her to get in the car and drive to Cumming, I think she's past that. But a lot of people don't think that they are. They don't make wise decisions about how they spend their time. You just heard Steve tell us that he let a $20,000 to $30,000 to $50,000 deal go by, which would kill us. We'd all be like, we'll take that deal. But he realized that he was taking away from making the big bucks, right? So, if I'm gonna spend time driving to Cumming, what am I saying no to?
Potential earnings.
Potential earnings. Oh, but Karen, I can lead you into the car. But do you? Does it really happen? Right? You see what I'm saying? When we're hungry and when we're first starting out, we'll be willing to drive to Decula and Beaufort and Peachtree City, right? To take a listing. And there's no judgment in that. But I'm trying to explain to you that you have to decide how to make your time useful. If you have this much time and it's blocked, then that means you can't do this other thing, right? So each time you have 1 hour, I want you to think about these 3 questions before you go do the activity. Here's your first question. I just got invited to a Christmas party with my husband. Do I go or do I not go? What's the answer?
Depends.
Depends. Will this hour be income producing? I have to ask myself, will this hour be income producing? What's an example of an income producing activity?
Lead generation.
No, that's gonna be the next one. Lead generation is right here.
Oh, right, yeah.
So this is a lead generating activity.
Income producing is like writing content.
Writing an offer?
Writing an offer.
Networking.
Closing.
Networking is gonna be lead generating.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you were on.
You talking about like being on appointments, like buyers appointments, listing
Yeah.
appointments?
Going to appointments. What else is income producing?
Like an open house?
An open house is lead generating.
Closing a deal,
Closing is an income producing activity.
negotiating a deal,
Negotiating a deal is income producing.
inspection.
Is that income producing?
No.
Is that a good use of your time?
No.
Do you know I don't go to I don't go to the inspections.
Depends
Is
on
it
the
my
guy.
job to go to the inspection?
No, but if
Is
you're
it a standard? Do people think all of a sudden that real estate agents should go to the inspections? Is
Only
that,
if you set the
You're supposed to stay out of their way anyway.
it's supposed
so-
to be that you set the expectation that it's the buyer and the inspector that are the inspection. I don't need to be at the inspection, I can read an inspection report. There is absolutely nothing of value that I'm adding walking around. It is purely subjective opinions, and I'm not that smart, nor do I wanna put myself in that liability, so I'm not gonna give you an opinion on your house. That's not my job. My hourly rate says you want me to be your consultant, not your inspector. Do I go to the appraisal?
No.
No,
Oh,
why
well,
would you? You're supposed to stay out
only
of
if
it.
there's trouble.
I provide the appraiser with all of the comps that they need, and I make sure that they have it either physically left for them on the counter, or I email to them and they respond that they've gotten it. If I can't get any of that, then I'll race myself over there, or I'll send someone to go. But we don't need to be at the appraisal, same concept.
I've gotten appraisals appraised because I was there. I know, for sure.
I agree with that.
I can
Depends on
tell you
the
right now.
circumstance.
They don't wanna talk to you though. You're not supposed to talk to them because they're not their
I
client.
can give you 100% knowledge that if you weren't there and was sweet as pie on the phone with them and sent them all the comps, it would have still worked out.
Yep.
I think you give yourself too much credit. You have to start realizing that what our job is
I agree with
that
you.
we're the consultants.
I agree
Yeah.
with that
Yeah.
too.
But is going to an appraisal and going to an inspection income producing? It's not income producing. It might save your deal, so you think, but it's not income producing. So think about what you're worth. You may wanna send someone else. You see what I'm saying?
I know, sometimes it makes the client feel,
That's your expectation. We're not about feelings. That's, you set up the expectation.
Agreed.
You set it up at the very beginning in the buyer consult. You're gonna be going to the inspection. We're gonna be speaking with the appraiser. But it would really make me feel better if you came to the appraisal. Can you be there, Cooper?
Absolutely.
No. Come on, we're not doing it first. It would really mean a lot to me. It would make me feel so much better if you could be at the appraisal. Jill.
You know what, I hear what you're saying, but that's not my specialty. I think you'd be better off attending the appraisal yourself.
They shouldn't even be there.
They shouldn't be
You're
there.
talking
No.
about inspection.
Inspection.
No, I just said
Yeah.
appraisal, but here's the deal. At the very beginning, you set it up so they understand that, and if there is an objection that you have to challenge along the way, you explain to them how it's actually counterproductive for us, because the appraiser really wants to have the freedom to walk through the home. And don't worry, I'm gonna have all the conversations, and I'm gonna send them the comps. In fact, since you're a C, or maybe you're an S, I'm gonna send you all the comps, I'm gonna send them, and it's gonna be fine, and I promise you it's gonna be fine, right? And even if it doesn't work out, if it doesn't appraise, it's still gonna be fine. You see the difference between it doesn't appraise and it's gonna be fine? Those are two different things. It's ultimately always gonna be fine. So that's the only thing you can guarantee. You can't guarantee anything else. Okay. What else is income producing?
Touring properties.
Showing houses. So I'm gonna ask you to, we're gonna prioritize these. We're gonna prioritize them. Anything else on here? Nikki, anything else? Is entering a listing income producing?
No.
Oh, it is.
It is?
Entering a listing into FMLS, it's income producing. Is it your job?
Wow, that's okay. That's wrong.
Okay, you see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Enter a listing is absolutely income producing. You press send,
Yeah.
there's your hot button, right?
Some of
Okay.
these can kind of.
Answering your phone, is that income producing? Absolutely, but people don't do it, okay? So out of all these things, let's prioritize. What's the least income producing thing on that list?
Closing.
Going to the closing.
That's right. But everybody wants to go to the closing. What's going to the closing about?
Building relationships.
I'm picking up the check.
It's about
To
your
be
ego.
fair.
It's about your ego.
Asking for a referral.
Now that's not why people go to closings. They rarely do it.
It's
They're
supporting
rarely
your
asked for business.
client.
It's about if it really was the most important thing, it would be about your connection to the client, but it's really about your ego and your check.
But the clients, they want you to be there because they feel like,
Well,
They do, but
You don't do anything at the closing.
in a list of things,
You do nothing. You don't sign anything.
I want you to be clear. There's customer service and then there's sales. Which one are you?
customer service.
No, you're wrong. You're in sales.
No, I know, but I am, that's my downfall.
So that's not your downfall. Don't say things like that. We are in the sales business, and if you think you're in customer service, you better go out there and think about how to change the mindset that you have about yourself. this job is sales.
Yeah.
We have customer service specialists that are in the admin role,
Yeah.
and they're lovely.
Yeah.
She doesn't wanna go hunt and gather. You have to go hunt and gather.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you hunting when you're at the closing, or are you doing the high five? I'm serious, because we have to think about what we're doing here. If you wanna be a high producing real estate agent, you have to remember you only have a certain limited amount of time. And if you're spending that time making Jill feel great about the transaction, and then you forget about the fact that you need to feed your family, you've now said so many yeses to Jill, and you've said so many no's to everything else.
Right.
So, I'm not opposed to people going to closing. I'm asking you for a priority list, right?
I agree.
Okay, so on this list of priorities, which is the first priority?
Appointments.
No. Read it again.
Answering the phone.
Writing an offer.
Oh, interesting.
Writing an offer. If someone says, I would like to make an offer, that's just as important as entering a listing. Who's got me here?
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying?
You can pay someone to
I would say
Yes,
entering
yes.
listings is the
Yes.
next, the lowest.
So, what
You
on
can
this
just
list
do it.
can we ask someone else to, what on this list is not in my bandwidth?
Entering listing.
Right. So, am I handing off negotiations to anybody else?
No.
I gotta hand negotiations off. I gotta write the offer, cause I'm the agent. Now, she can draft an offer for me, but at the end of the day, I have to review it and press send, right? So that's what I consider writing the offer, actually like thinking it through. There are certain things that take priority over others. Writing an offer, negotiating an offer. You can hire anyone to show houses. You can hire people to enter a listing for you. You can even hire someone to answer the phone, as long as the phone gets answered. Try to think about the fact that you have a limited amount of time, and in that hour, Steve, you're not going to answer the phone during that hour and get any distractions, because you've decided that it's more important to do this. So you're not gonna take, do you see
Yep.
the difference? Going on appointments. That doesn't have to be you.
What if you're the listing person though?
Then but you're gonna always have to have someone that you're gonna train to be your backup. It's not a forever situation, and it's not an always Katie situation. But yes, going on appointments right after negotiating offers is important. So you've got 1 hour, you gotta decide which one's more important. Oh look, I have an appointment with a buyer, but then my closing got changed right when I have an appointment to my buyer. Which one do you choose?
Buyer.
Yay! That's right. It's the buyer. Because people often, they'll blow off the buyer to go to the closing. You have a buyer appointment. Your closing's gonna happen whether you show up or not. Send a buddy. Do you see the difference? So think about how every single hour that you have, is my hour gonna be income producing? Is my hour gonna be lead generating? What's a lead generating hour?
You get leads.
What's an activity that you could be doing that's lead generating?
Phone calls, open house.
Yep, so
Networking.
you're dialing,
Door knocking.
door knocking.
Going to your husband's Christmas party.
Hold on, you got me, see, you're ahead.
That's funny.
If you are thinking about lead generating as an activity, and you've decided to focus on lead generating, those are some of the activities you can do. There's certainly a lot more, right? You could go to Starbucks, you could go to the Walmart, you could go to my kid's soccer game. I'm wearing my name tag on purpose, right? You have to be lead generating wherever you are. But if you're focusing on strict lead generating activities, can you lead generate a closing?
Nope.
Absolutely.
What?
You can lead generate the other client. Their agent didn't show up, and all of a sudden you're like,
Oh, that's downline. That's not like.
no, the
What?
other client, the buyer client, their agent didn't show up, and you've decided that,
Yeah.
hey, if you ever need anything, I'm here for you. I know your agent wasn't able to make it today, but I'm here for you.
But you're just saying that that you're the person that didn't show up though. So I feel like, isn't that kind of a?
You're crossing two examples. If you end up going to a closing,
Uh-huh.
can you lead generate? That's the
Okay.
question. Yes,
Okay.
you can.
Yeah.
Can you lead generate with the lender? Can you lead generate with the person, the receptionist?
The attorney.
Can you lead generate with the attorney? Can you make a connection with the girl at the front and say, have you ever thought about a career in real estate? What I'm trying to tell you is that these things all align and they're intertwined. But if your hour doesn't have any of these things, then it's not a good use of the hour. The third and final choice you're making, is this personally fulfilling? This is where people say, okay, if you have 16 hours of awake time, okay, every day, and you decide that you're going to spend 3 hours watching TV, is that income producing, lead generating, or personally fulfilling?
No.
C.
It's personally fulfilling, right? Because you're basically putting your brain on coma mode, right? Do you look at your calendar in your life? Do you spend any more than an hour a day on TV each day? So that's the kind of stuff we need to think about. And if there are people around us who do, how can we help them be more productive if that's what their goal is, right? But can you go to an event and make it personally fulfilling but still come out lead generating and income producing? Give me an example.
Husband's Christmas.
My husband's Christmas party, where I don't really enjoy everyone, but it's personally fulfilling to me because my husband is going to be happy. I'm going to walk in there with an attitude that I'm going to walk out with a lead. Do you see what I'm saying? It can be all of those things. It can be. So why is it that we get so myopic that we say, well, I'm going to the beer fest and I'm just going to have fun with my friends for 3 hours and I'm not going to think about business? How is that myopic?
When you say the term myopic, what you really mean is?
Myopic is you're
I don't know what it means, Karen. Come on, you're using the Bible words.
It means you're only looking at one lane. I'm going to
Thank you
go
so
to the
much.
beer
Okay.
fest and I'm going to hang out with my friends and I'm only going to talk about the beer fest and my friends. But if you really thought about every activity that you do is income producing and lead generating, you would understand that you're constantly networking. And then you'd be at your best behavior at everything you go to because you could have a client right around the corner. And you'd wear your name tag because you don't care about being a dork because you want to get the lead, right? When you go to vote today, did you pick up a lead?
I did not.
But you could have.
I could have.
Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
She could have had her name tag and it says Georgia Voter. You know what else she could have done? She could have put her name tag on here and Georgia Voter and taken a picture of herself and said, I voted, I'm with Keller Williams and I'm proud. And put it on social media.
That's coming next.
But do you understand?
Yeah.
You guys got to take layer after layer after layer. You have a limited amount of time every day. Layer and relayer every activity that you do and reuse it and use it and make it the most successful that you can.
Mm-hmm.
What ahas do you have about this?
There's always an opportunity.
Always. Do you have any hobbies or any outside interests outside of real estate? What do you do, Blaine, in your free time?
Well, of course, gym and golf and
Golf. What about the guy behind the desk at the golf? Does he need to buy a house?
absolutely.
Does he want to get into a career in real estate? Are you guys asking these questions?
I was.
I mean,
Fill out.
why wouldn't you ask the question? You said you fill out. What happened?
I fill out like from Bold. We had to do it, so it was
Oh, so you had to do it. Hold up. Hold up. Dory's right here.
I know.
So if you
She is shaking her head back and forth.
So if I asked you guys right now to permanently show me that you've made 20 contacts in one day, every single day, could you do it?
Mm-hmm.
You have to now, Brandy. Does that feel better? Am I holding you accountable?
Yeah.
Now, what you gonna do on the weekend? I'm gonna make you do 20 contacts on Saturday, Sunday. It's combined, so it's only 10 per day. Can you do it? Do you see the difference? Now you've just made a simple decision and a simple tweak that it's part of your body. It doesn't matter if you're on vacation. It doesn't matter if you're going on a plane. You could meet someone who wants to buy a house in New Jersey. Do you think we have real estate agents from Keller Williams in New Jersey?
Mm-hmm.
Could you be leaving money on the table if you don't refer them a great agent? But if you shut down, I'm not saying you can't take a full vacation, not think about business, but wouldn't it be fun to be on an airplane and just have one simple conversation and then someone ultimately decides to use your referral and then you get paid $3,000 for doing that connection? That's gonna make that really a fun vacation, I think. All right?
The next vacation.
And you never know who you might meet. You might everyone wants to talk about real estate, so let them. Any city that we work in 26 countries. We are 155,000 associates in 26 countries. There should be no reason to not talk about real estate with anyone, anywhere, anytime. Everyone wants to buy, sell, invest, or start a career in real estate. Those are the 4 questions. Do you want to buy real estate? Do you want to invest in real estate? Do you want to sell real estate? Or do you want to have a career in real estate? And who do you know that wants to have those things if it's not you? So if you're not asking all these questions, that's how you leverage your time. That's how you leverage your time. Steve, who are you giving your referrals to in this office?
Well, that last one I gave to Robert Armstrong. There's a
Great.
land deal.
Who are you giving your residential leads to?
Jill Heineck.
Okay, she's your sponsor.
Jay Leslie with Atlanta Land Group.
Okay, and you chose Jill Heineck, and she's a great resource for you. Thank God. Do you want everybody here to give you their commercial referrals?
Absolutely.
Right!
I'm the only commercial agent here, 31 years.
Have you ever actually taken the time to ask these people to give you their referrals?
Sadly, no.
Do you see what's happening? Who lives somewhere far away? Ooh, you four. Where do you live?
Kennesaw, Marietta, Canton.
Okay. Would you guys like to drive to Canton, or would you like to refer business to Cooper? Right? So start thinking about that. There's a certain level of space where you're not going to be driving. It's not going to be most effective for you to go do certain things, right? So in Atlanta, we have enough business. There's enough density that we have a lot of business we can do. But your drive time is going to also affect your hourly rate. So start thinking about those things and building your network, right? Yes.
I would just make a note. I think that that's like after you reach a certain point, right? Because I mean, at the end of the day, we know that McKinney would say that you should drive up to a certain amount of point to go after the money.
Exactly what I just said. There's a certain point, and wherever you are in your career, that certain point is moving target. I'm not going to be driving to Canton. I'll be sending it to Cooper, right, or something like that. But you make your own choice. But don't leave money on the table. You have an ability to get that. And so you have this down, and I'm going to show you the next component, okay?
Hey Karen, can I make a really interesting, easy suggestion?
Absolutely.
So one of the agents that just came out of Ignite was a master at talking about being a real estate agent in such an organic way. I told her she should teach a class. She's so good at it.
Great.
She'll be at Whole Foods getting cookies, and she usually makes her own cookies, but she had to get cookies, and she was standing next to me, and she said, have you tried these cookies? I use these cookies for every one of my open houses. I'm a realtor. And then she just went into it. I mean, she had such a knack for doing that. She was picking up clients all over the place.
And that's, see how awesome that is? That may not be you. That's okay. But at least you know that that's available to you, right? You may not be the one who's going to start the conversation, but you better be ready to receive it. So when you go to your husband's party, or you go to the beer fest, or you go to the show, or you go to vote, have a conversation. Get yourself out of your comfort zone. If you're going to be uncomfortable now, so you can be comfortable later, right? Okay, a lot of you asked us how on the Ben Kinney team, why are we so, focused, and what's our focus about? I'm going to show you that, okay? Is that good? Does everybody have this? Okay, when you think about success in real estate, people that are looking to earn a certain income, they start to do analysis on what does it take to become successful, right? And so we've discovered in the Ben Kinney team, and this is our secret sauce right here, that there's a lead generation pie. Guys, it's not a menu. A menu looks like this. You can have item 1, you can have item 1, you can have bundle number 3. This is not a menu. This is something where we believe that if you eat from the whole pie, you'll be super full. You'll be healthy. You'll find nutrition. And ultimately, you'll earn more, right? So here's how we look at the pie. And this is specific to the Ben Kinney team. This is the agent side that you're responsible for. This is the team side. The first thing we ask everyone to do before they ever even join is to come up with 200 names and one piece of contact, preferably the cell, email, and address are also important. But we ask them to have those before they begin. So you're coming into the table, and let's say that you say, Karen, I don't have 200 people that I know. Pam and Tammy don't have 200 people that they know. Do they have to be in Atlanta? Did I say they have to be in Atlanta? No. Because why?
Go on your Facebook, you have 1,000.
Because you now have the ability to speak to 200 people that you know and ask them about real estate wherever they are. That's the luxury that we didn't have 13 years ago, right? Because we were only focused on our city. So you should be downloading these from where? Go ahead and tell us where, Katie.
Facebook.
So first of all, you have a lot of Facebook friends. Well, Karen, I don't have any other contact information. Well, you're connected to them on Facebook, so you can send them a private message, and you can say, I'm looking for your email, cell, and address so I can send you some information on my company. Or I'd love to have you as an advocate. Would you refer me business if it comes across your desk? Or I'd love to be your connection point. I know you live in Indiana. Could I please have your cell phone? I want to have a quick conversation with you. Hey, Joyce, I know you live in Indiana, but Did you know that we have amazing real estate agents in Indiana, and I'd love to be your referral point. I just want to be everything real estate to you. That's an easy script, right? So you're downloading your names off Facebook and you're getting their contact info. LinkedIn, what else? Instagram, Snappy Chatty. All that stuff is where you're, what about just your contacts on your phone? Your contacts on your phone are,
like all your emails.
all your emails, all your Gmails, you're putting those in a spreadsheet. You've got Bob, James, his cell phone, then you've got Louise, you only have an email for her, so you'll email her and ask her for her cell phone, because ultimately you're gonna have a conversation with all 200 people. And they're going to refer you business in Atlanta. Joyce, I know you live in West Palm, Florida. Who do you know in Atlanta that I can help? I mean, I can help anyone anywhere. The two of you are co-licensed in Florida, right? So you still have people calling from Florida, and you might not be able to work them because you're up here.
Mm-hmm.
So you need a referral base.
I've done that at least once now.
She's from Panama City. She's from
Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale. So you guys should connect. You should help each other, right? You see how we just did that connection? Right? You should have 200 names, and you should be calling. How often should you be calling these people?
Once a quarter.
We do it twice a month. You don't have enough business, you're calling them twice a month. Does anybody here have enough business? Okay, so when you get into what's called a maintenance plan, it's once a quarter that you're calling them. When you get into I need some money tomorrow, you're calling them twice a month. Hey, we're hiring. Hey, who do you know that wants to start a career in real estate? Hey, did you see that your price values went down, went up, went whatever, right? Okay, there's a million different reasons why you're gonna call your sphere, but you're gonna call them often. What's the next one? What's another part of the lead generation pie? Just give me an
Open
example.
house.
Open houses. When we first started on the Ben Kinney team, we do 2 to 3 open houses a week. How do we do that, Karen? How do we fill the time? Well, when are open houses usually held?
Saturday, Sunday.
From what time?
2 to 4, 2 to 4 to 5.
So
12 to
historically open houses are from 2 to 4 on Saturdays or 2 to 4 on Sundays. But we hold them also from 12 to 2 on those days, and we hold them from 3 to 5 on Thursdays, and we hold them from 4 to 6 on Fridays. We hold them whenever we feel like it. We have signs that just say open house and a bunch of balloons. Especially on a listing where the people are gonna be able to hit it on the way home and they see it easily, 1 or 2 turns. If you're not getting enough business, these are people that are warm, that like you, and they've raised their hands to like you, but they don't know if they wanna do real estate, right? Open house is a warm lead. They've raised their hands to do something in real estate, but they don't know you yet, right? So you can convert them. What's the open house script we use?
Hi, people visit my open house for one of 2 reasons. Either they're looking to buy or they're looking to sell. Which one are you?
Right, so you want to be able to get those people into the open house quickly and convert them to be your clients, and you got to follow up with them. The next thing is cold calling. We call expireds, we call for sale by owners, we call circle prospect, which is if you have a listing, we call around it, or you can farm. Farming means that I'm just going to call an area and I'm going to call it over and over and over. So this is the agent side. These are the responsibilities of the agent. These are the things you're doing every single day. Our model is that we show up every day at 8:30. We actually show up at 8 o'clock and we prep and we get our coffee and we get ready, but from 8:30 to 9 a.m., we power up and we do our scripts. Power up means something inspirational, motivational, something to just get your day going, education, gratitude, and then we do scripts practice. Today our practice was about fierce conversations asking for a price drop. Then from 9 to 12 we dial, and we dial everything from this side. And we believe you should have 150 dials per day minimum, which we use a system called Mojo. We dial on a dialer, it dials 4 at a time. 150 dials minimum per day will get you 20 real estate conversations. You can have 20 real estate conversations in other ways too. You can door knock, you can go meet somebody, but you're walking out with 20 real estate conversations, which is the Keller Williams model, which is what they teach us in Bold, which is what you fell off of, Brandy, which you can go back to. 20 real estate conversations per day is the goal. How you get there is up to you. You can sit at Starbucks all day long for all I care, as long as you're putting stuff on the board, right? That's how we all did it before we had dialers. This is just basically one other way to do it. But you're holding yourself accountable to do it with the same group of people every single day. And you're calling your sphere, you're calling your open houses, you're calling cold. You're using some of those dials as your follow-up dials, because it's $150 per day. You might have a follow-up call to a deal you're already doing, but you're asking them for the business while you're on the phone. Hey, by the way, while I have you on the phone, I know we're in the middle of due diligence. Who do you know that wants to buy or sell? Hey, I know we just got through the appraisal period and we're clear to close. I wanted to give you a call. It's a touch, right? Hey, who do you know that wants to buy or sell? Will you write us a testimonial? I would really love it. Are we making those dials? We're not making those dials. We need to be making those dials. And then we believe that 20 real estate conversations on average will get you 1 appointment per day. Well, Karen, I couldn't get any appointments with my expireds. I couldn't get any appointments with my open house people. Well, who was left to get an appointment with?
Sale by owners.
For sale by owners. And I couldn't get an appointment with a for sale by owner. Who's left?
Sphere.
Sphere. Well, go have an appointment with one of your favorite friends and call it an appointment. See?
My coach gave me a really great way to turn a coffee into an appointment. Basically by saying, you know me, or you know my husband, etc., depending on what your situation is. And the phrase is, can I count on you for help or for business or for whatever it is? So simply by saying, can I count on you, and then getting really intentional about the next half of that question, turns a basic coffee with a friend into an intentional appointment. Not that you're telling them it's an appointment, however, now you've shifted the conversation in a really positive way.
Fantastic. What's the definition of a conversation, a real estate conversation? Asking for the business. You can have a phone call and someone hangs up on you, that doesn't count. You can have a phone call and it's a wrong number. You can have a phone call and they won't even let you get the question out, doesn't count. It's actually asking for the business and them saying yes or no, and hopefully no. Why hopefully no?
Because then you have to ask another question.
You're getting closer to your yes.
You're getting closer to your yes. We believe it takes 150 dials to actually have 20 real estate conversations to actually get the one yes. So I love it when they hang up on you on the 19th call, because you know the next call is going to be a yes.
It just takes one.
And then when you're on a team, and you guys have, everyone in here has a different setup, but on our team we have leads from the internet that we use. On Ben Kinney's team we have Brivity, and the team pays for leads, and we provide them to the agents if they're doing the activities they're supposed to be doing, which is showing up for Power Up and Scripts, making their dials, okay, and doing their open houses. If they're doing those things, then they're getting the leads from the team. Here they're getting team referrals. Here they're getting web leads, listing leads. Does that make sense? You're getting all the benefits that you're getting from a team. If you're not in a team, you're getting these on your own. You're going out and getting referrals from other agents. You're getting the leads from your listings, either online or in person. You're paying for leads if you want to pay for leads. Does that make sense? So you should be eating from all these parts of the pie on every single day. See, Lori, there's a lot of people who have built their business on Sphere. And that's wonderful, and you can do that, but you're also leaving money on the table, number one, and that's not gonna sustain you in a market that's gonna shift soon. You're gonna have to get out of your element, you're gonna have to go meet new people, and you're gonna have to deal with people on the internet, and you're gonna have to deal with people in open houses, and you're gonna have to. But eventually what's gonna happen, Lori, is you're gonna get to 4 deals a month, and you're gonna say, Karen, I really prefer to walk into these, just to work in those 2 levers. And I'm gonna say, great, as long as you're getting your 4 deals a month, you can do whatever you want. Does that make sense? This is about getting you over the 1 to 2 year hump of trying to make it in this business and trying to get you into production quickly. If you choose later on that you're so good at expires that you only want to call expires and spheres, I'm a fan. Make sure you have 4 deals a month to be able to buffer yourself. When you get to 6 and 7 and 8 deals a month, then we talk about the other opportunities you have. But until you get to a point where you're successful, you're doing everything on this. Does that make sense? Any questions about this? Now I know that we're at 3:30 on our time, so I'm going to be really conscious about that, and I'm going to stay and talk a little bit more about this with whoever wants to stay, but I want to be conscious about those of you who don't want you to stay. This is where our party ends. Did you enjoy it? Was there anything I could do better?
Thank you, Karen.
Oh yeah. If there's anything that I could do better, or any more feedback that I can give anybody, or help, just go ahead and take the call and get my email. Karen at benkinsey.com.
I know. Sorry, thank you.
Yeah, Yeah, you're great.
I time blocked my day.
I love it. And I time block. You know, it's wonderful to have a partner like Cara because she tells me, you know, you've got 5 minutes left, and so like then I know what's happening, and I know, you know, you got to be really conscious of your audience.
Yeah.
If you start a meeting and you say it's going to be an hour, then it's going to be an hour. And you know, I appreciate your time, and I'm glad you guys came.
Thank you for your
So,
time.
Thanks, Lady.
Okay. You want to stick around? So you guys move up a little bit. So Katie, can you please walk her to Dory's office?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
hi,
yes.
Tammy.
Oh, thank you.
Okay,
Very nice.
inform you after you talk.
Okay,
No.
thanks.
Okay, so, also want to introduce you guys to Nikki. Nikki is our admin on our teams, and Jamie is the admin with Jill's team, and then Jill and Lori right here, and then Cooper is going to be joining them as well. And then Dwayne is an agent in this office, is an individual agent that was doing business. He was formerly doing construction, and then he was kind of like not doing much in real estate, and now he's really engaged. And so we met, and he's wonderful. And then Brandy and Fatima are individual agents at the office. I guess they're gonna linger and listen to a little more of this. Sarah is on our team. Sarah is on our Atlanta team, so she's one of the 2 agents. So there's 3 of us, and we're pretty lean. We've done a lot of business with 3 people, but we certainly can do a lot more. And I think it's interesting to talk about what this model looks like and how it can benefit you. But I know you guys have a slew of questions, so I'll just open it up and we can be open and talk about it.
Are you good?
Yeah, great.
So,
Jill's got a ton.
why do you choose to be lean?
We don't choose to be lean, we happen to be lean. We would prefer to have more agents. The model has you going, so the goal of the model, here. Sarah, you wanna come closer? Every location, we have 20 locations in the United States, okay? So, and I'm speaking to these 4 because they're coming to learn something specific about the Ben Kinney team, so you guys have any questions, just stop me. The Ben Kinney organization has 20 locations nationwide. And this is the real estate leg. There are 4 legs. We do sales, and we are in 20 real estate locations. So within Keller Williams, we are the largest team within Keller Williams. The Ben Kinney team does more business than any other team across the nation because we have a team leader and a very robust team in every location. So every location does at least 200 to 300 to 400 GCI, all the way up to 3 to 4 to 5 million, just in one location. So Ben, I have to explain this to you guys so you understand. Ben Kinney did not start out successful. He started out 14 years ago in this little tiny town of Bellingham, Washington. He built a business in a 90,000 person town, and over 14 years he now has 86% of the market share in that small town in Washington. Organically, he started getting leads in other locations in Washington. So he built another team there, another team there, another team there. These teams overlap. Bellingham overlaps with Everett, which overlaps territory with Seattle, which overlaps territory with Tacoma, which means that there's enough business for all of these teams to exist. I want you to think about how Atlanta is built. Atlanta is built, and we have 40 offices. We have 40 Keller Williams offices in all of Atlanta. If there's an office in McDonough or Peachtree City, or there's an office here in Brookhaven, there happens to be an office 2 miles down the road in Sandy Springs. Do you think people create offices with just wherever they want, or do you think they think it through and decide where there's going to be enough income and enough population and enough? So we have the ability for us to have a footprint in lots of parts of the United States, just like we have the ability to have lots and lots of footprints in Atlanta. So there's enough business for all of us, right? So Ben then started getting natural leads in Vancouver, Washington, and then all of a sudden in Oregon, and then in Napa and Sacramento, which are here in California. And then he started getting leads in Boise, and he partnered with somebody in Boise and Denver and New Mexico, and then Austin, and he started working his way over. And now we have teams in Chicago and Destin and Tampa and Atlanta and Nashville and Alaska. And these are not teams based on locations, they're based on having a connection with that individual. That individual is like-minded and team-oriented and wants to be a part of something bigger and go further faster. Does that make sense? I think Keller Williams is a wonderful opportunity, and it's gotten me a lot of opportunities over the years, but being on the Ben Kinney team is probably my greatest achievement in my whole life. Because I feel like everything I've ever done leads up to somebody choosing me to be on this team, and choosing me to be an impact person in this person's life, and choosing me to have a connection with this person. That to me are my greatest achievements. Okay, outside of my children. I mean, in business, I mean. So, there are 20 sales locations, and we're on our way to growing that. Ben also owns brokerages, so we own, he owns like 11 brokerages in Washington State, so all these offices, Ben also owns them. They're not just Ben Kinney employees, Ben Kinney teammates, they're individual agents who don't want to be on the Ben Kinney team necessarily in Bellingham, but they have to compete against the Ben Kinney team, but they have their own agenda, right? But he owns those offices, and he wants them to be successful like everybody else. We also own the UK franchise of Keller Williams. So if you go anywhere in the United Kingdom, it's all owned by Ben Kinney and 2 other partners, okay?
See, I haven't been to the Keller Williams office there, but I want to go.
Mayfair, I think is what it's called. It is a write-off. If you can teach a class, Lori, it becomes a write-off. Anywhere that you guys go, internationally or nationally, any trip you take, as long as you pop into the office and teach a class, you can write that off. That's also taught in my wealth building class, in case you want to come. All right, training. How many people work for the training company? Take a guess.
1.
That's right. Who is it?
Ben Kinney.
Right. So Ben Kinney is the only one who works for the Ben Kinney Training Company. He's the only one who writes the content, maneuvers all the paperwork, and does all the workbooks, and then actually gives the training. So how long do you think that's going to last? At a certain point, I'm going to want to be a candidate in the Ben Kinney team training company. The only way I can do that is if we can get Atlanta to be successful. What does success mean in Atlanta? Success means we get everybody in production, everybody at 4+ deals per agent. That's a level of success. That's a buffer level of success. We definitely want more. We want people to be at 8 and 10. But 4 is a baseline for success.
Per month, you're talking
per month. If you hit 1 transaction to 2 transactions a month in our company and you do 12 to 24 per year, you get to keep your job. If 12 is really our baseline. If you're doing 3 to 4 transactions per month, you're starting to get to a point where you're going to need to hire a showing agent. And so we want to help you hire that showing agent underneath this model, if that makes sense, right? So that you now go into leadership. So anyone who wants to be on the team has to think about what's my future goal? There are plenty of people who may not want to do that. They may be very happy with their 3 to 4 deals a month and they don't want a showing agent. But the coolest thing is that you can have one. You can do buyers and sellers. You can work with renters. You can hire a showing agent. You can build a team within a team within a team. Those are all options for you. And then when you get to 8 to 10 transactions in 1 month, and it can be as a team, because you can have your sub team, right? Now you're in line to become an expansion partner. And that opportunity can be available. It's usually, it's very rarely any less than that time frame, right? So there's been one agent that's done 80 deals in 1 year, and she was offered an expansion opportunity. The timing worked and the situation worked out for her. It's most usually something where you grow into that.
What's the timeline they put on that? How many consecutive months before?
Oh, 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 6 months of hitting the 4+ a month.
No, well.
When in the opportunity model, if you
agent
go,
and the team?
No. In the opportunity model, if you're doing 1 to 2 deals a month, you get to keep your job. If you're doing 3 to 4 deals a month steadily, and you get to 4 steadily for 6 months, it's time to hire a showing agent. When you get to 5 to 6 deals a month, it's time to hire an admin, and we will pay for that. We will pay for half of an admin for you. The Ben Kinney team will, right? You get to a place where you're doing so many deals, you need some leverage. So one of the benefits of the team is that the team value proposition is that we should take the leverage off of your plate. We should take the admin stuff off your plate. So you can keep your own admin. You have your own admin for the Lori team or the Jill, right? But it's paid for by the Ben Kinney team.
What is an expansion partner?
So I'm an expansion partner. I had a team, an existing team that I worked for 10 years. I had a business that I worked for 10 years. And now my business, I'm an expansion partner of the Ben Kinney team. So I'm no longer top Atlanta real estate. I'm now the Ben Kinney team Atlanta. I'm a partner to Ben Kinney. I've rolled up my business and I'm on a split with Ben. My particular split is 50-50. It's different for different people. So 50% of what I make, goes to the team, and then the team, I'm part owner in the team. Okay. All right, so the training company is an interesting place where people can, I want you to see the opportunities. I want you to see that you could travel from one state to the next and be on the Ben Kinney team. I want you to see that you could join the training company. I want you to see that you could be, we have a lady that has nothing to do with Ben. Her name is Via Williams. She's out of Washington. She has a competing team with Ben in Seattle. She raised her hand 2 weeks ago and said, I want to be part of the Ben Kinney organization. I'm going to keep the Via team, and that team's going to stay alive, but I want to work for the Ben Kinney company. This is the Ben Kinney companies. This is called BKCO. You can go to benkinneycompanies.com. And the fourth leg of our companies is our technology. We own a brand called Brivity. We own other technology companies too, but Brivity is the #1 brand. It's a CRM, it's a customer relational management tool. So you interact with your customers, you do all of your transactions through there, all of our databases through there. It's gonna talk to Keller Williams Command, it's gonna talk to Kelly. But that's where we keep all of our stuff. And that's a bonus of being on the Ben Kinney team, is that we get to have that at no charge, right? So there's a lot of things you get that are tangible and intangible for being on the team. A lot of things that you would normally pay for on your own. You have your lock boxes paid for, your folders, your presentations, your flyers, your desk fees, your lock boxes, your signs, your admin, your listings. Do you understand? Those are tangible, those are money costs. Then there's intangible. You get mentorship, you get massive accountability, you get a pain in the butt like me, like on you, riding you, like constantly. Because you decided to sign up for it. The two of you have always had these opportunities, right? But you don't want it. You don't want to be ridden by me. You want to be ridden by Dory or someone else. Does that make sense? No.
Yeah.
But the other thing is not everybody's up for this, you know,
I've been going back and forth with the idea, that's why I'm here.
You have to be so decidedly disciplined, and you have to run in and you know you're gonna make this work, so there's nothing else. So, the day I met you, I'm sorry I use you as an example. I met this woman, she'd just gotten her license or gotten it 6 months ago, and she had closed nothing, and she was a property manager. She was making a steady salary. And I've never seen anybody like her, and I respect her so much. She said, I'm in, sign me up. I said, oh, hold on, dude, 1 second. I wasn't even sure, right? And she blew me away. Now, she's got a goal in mind, and she's going after it. Whatever it takes is our motto. If you don't have that motto, and I want you to understand, especially for you, Lori, this is a change. And you may not.
I'm already doing all this stuff.
Oh, great! I was gonna say, you may not grab into it.
I've been doing this. I've been an agent for 13 years, and I've been doing this.
Perfect. I wanted to make sure that if you hadn't or you were against it, that you give it a chance, because I know it can work. But it sounds like you're already doing it. So that's
She's in.
Okay, great. Okay. I don't want to convince anybody.
No,
I want people to
but I'm
really
like, that's
into
why I
it.
was asking the question, because we're already doing like 4 or 5 closings a month. Just me as the buyer's agent only.
Yeah. So
not the listings.
So the way to elevate yourself to get to the next level is to continue doing your dials, continue doing these things, so that you can then get the leads from the team, and then you have now.
And I don't count on my sphere. Unfortunately, I don't have a database. I've been doing this 13 years. I've never kept a database.
Let's figure that out.
Good luck.
Yeah.
All right.
So I don't count on sphere. I made it through the bad time when all the agents got out of business.
Where are
I'm
your
still
leads
making
coming from?
$90,000 a year as
Wow.
an individual agent just by calling expired FBOs.
So your whole business is expired and plus
No, my whole business is just everything else except for sphere.
So you're doing open houses, you're cold calling,
Yeah.
you're getting leads from the team,
Brevity.
you're doing Brivity, and you're getting referrals, but you're not calling your sphere.
I do now, but I have not in the past.
Right.
She's making me.
It's okay,
because
'cause I got
very
somebody-
painful.
Go ahead and
for
make fun of
me.
me. Go ahead, do it. Go ahead and make fun
I'm
of me.
very bad. I go to the closing. I'm like, great, have a nice life. Call me if you need anything with real estate. And I don't.
Yeah.
Do you know anybody like that?
I'm really bad.
We just went through my 500-person database, and I have not contacted.
I'm so bad. I'm
Ever.
so bad. But I see them. Like I'll see people and they'll be, oh hey, how's the house? Great. How's everything in real estate? Great. If you're thinking, if you need anything, let me know. But I don't do this. But we're doing this pie giveaway, which is gonna be great because I'm gonna reconnect with a lot of people.
So I want to make sure that I'm clear to everybody that's in here, is I fall off I don't do the things I'm supposed to do, right? We all have challenges and
We're all human.
we're human, and there is a barrier. Why am I going to Tony Robbins? Because there's something holding me back on certain things. That's inside of me, right? And I'm not ashamed to tell you it. I have my cry fest, which I'm like close to having right now, but
It's so funny.
what we're trying to go through is go down the progress. You're
Yeah.
trying, you want your line to be always
the
going on,
main
the trend
reason
line.
that I want to align with Ben Kinney is the same reason you did.
To what?
Is that
Yeah.
I think our goals are his goals, and it was just very obvious to us when we were in Bellingham.
Yeah. So that says a lot. It's a culture
Say
thing.
that again. I'm sorry.
We're in alignment. We have the same
Alignment
outlook
with our
that he does.
Okay.
business models or goals,
Goals.
and just
Just the way we think.
yeah.
Well, that's the first step, and Sarah will tell you that she aligns with the goals, and it's still hard for us to
It
show
is.
up every day, and it's still hard
Oh,
for us
yeah.
to.
We've
It's
been hitting our
horrible.
peak. I know that.
Are you kidding me?
How many, she's been here 18
People.
months, and we will go through and we have a great week, and then we might have a crappy week, or we might have a week where, and it's only 3 of us right now. So what's hard about 3 people is that you want this big team of accountability, but not everybody's showing up every day.
I show up no makeup on, my baseball cap, and my workout outfit.
Okay?
If I have to run home and change for showings, I do. But
Okay,
I get
fantastic.
there.
But you do it, and so.
Yeah.
That's the first step, and the second step is when you get here, like actually doing the work. You got here, and then you actually have to get into the work, and then we talked about our skill is, if we can motivate each other to
Right.
get on the phone, then we actually start calling.
Right.
And we have to start we're gonna do prizes, contests, we're gonna make it more fun, and that's why when we grow the team, it's more fun because there are more people that are doing it. And we wanna welcome you guys and Pam, if you decide to land here. Feel free to come and dial with us on that side. It motivates us. You can go to Magical Mornings or you can come but it motivates everyone and it makes you be better
It
because
does.
Ben always says.
It's just like what you said, who you associate with and align yourself with, and the people you surround yourself with. If you want to reach high goals, you need to be around people that are in the same mindset.
Yes. Lori, Ben always says to me, he always says, if I were standing next to you, would I be impressed or depressed?
A little bit of both.
So I say, okay, great. So I try to maneuver through my day. You know, I don't need to impress my parents. I've surpassed their expectations. I don't need to impress my husband. He's already married me. I'm good. But I need to impress Ben Kinney. So if he's standing next to me, I am balls out nervous, right? So I got to figure out how to do that and get to a place where I am enough. I've warranted. I've arrived, and now I know I left something on the table. I know I'm not doing enough. I know I could do better. My team, you know why I like Sarah? She drives me bananas, but she holds me accountable. Right?
That's why her and I are just great together. But see, the thing is, before we went to Bellingham, before we went to Ben Kinney, we went there for Brevity and then for Persuaded. But we were both, I'm kind of a rogue agent. I never have really followed systems very well. I do, and then I'm like, go off the road. And anyways, but we were both working a lot from home, even though we have an office. We would pop in the office and stuff. But we were like, you know what, we are gonna get our game on, and we are gonna finish this year strong. And we show up. It's painful because we love to work at home in our pajamas with our coffee. But we get up, we get going, we get moving, and we motivate each other. And I think we've been more productive since we got back from Persuaded than we have been since April. And we've had a great year.
So 2016 for me and my team that I had been built for 10 years, I made the most amount of income I've ever made personally, and the team did. We closed the most amount of deals. I was working the least amount that I was ever working. I was working from home, not showing up, being in pajamas, and I was the least fulfilled I've ever felt.
Yeah.
I was looking around to try to figure out if I should stay in real estate, if I should become a motivational speaker, if I should go do something else, and I was flailing. I had people coming to me asking if I should be a team leader, asking, this, that, and the other, and it was when my team leader, who's left now, put my name in front of Ben Kinney, and then I get the phone call, and he's like, hey, I wanted to talk with you, just meet you. Are you gonna be in Austin next week? Which I was going to anyway, and I was like, yeah. He was like, let's just meet for like an hour. And that's how it started.
I would have fell on the floor.
It was very awkward. He had me in a room, it was just him and I, and we were in a room, and he literally, there was nothing, he was just into me for 1 hour. And that 1 hour conversation, it was like that too when I met my trainer. They know, you know when you know, when someone is into you and you're into them and you can figure it out and it makes sense. So it took me 9 more months to make the decision to go there. It's not just one conversation. And it's not just, and especially when you see a contract, you're like, whoa, this is real now, right? People have apprehension, but this is a 10-year business I built. And this is a big decision. And when you're gonna get married, you're gonna get married to somebody, you gotta commit. And I'm all in. I'm all in, Jamie. Are you all in?
All in.
I know, I can feel it. She's like, my book is closed, let's go home. You're driving up to West Cobb, so get out. Alright, what questions do you have?
I just, you know, I don't wanna take up their time, but the team, my team.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time wrapping my brain around that.
Yeah, well, we can talk about that a little bit more offline. I think too, the other thing is I'd love to come up and see what you guys have in the setup, and I think that would make sense. We'll do that next week, and you pick a day, and I'll come up early, and maybe Sarah will join me, and we'll,
Wear your ball cap.
well, she, you don't see her in a ball cap, I'm sorry. She's to the 9s every day. So, sometimes she's late, because she's to the 9s, so you pick and choose us. And there's no lateness, whatever. We just decide that we wanna do this and we commit, and we have bad days. But when you come in and you power up together, you clear off all the negative energy. Everybody has bad days. Everybody decides not to vote today because their line was too long. But you know, and you'll have bad days. You can't have 2 bad days in a row because that's becoming a depression. You'll have a bad week, but you can't have 2 bad weeks in a row. That's a recession, right? So decide right now is your January 1 money, right now, whatever
My
you're doing.
commitment is I don't leave the office until I've made 1 appointment or 150 calls every day. And we don't have a mojo yet.
Alright.
We don't have a mojo yet.
We don't have a mojo
We
yet.
got her.
Cause I'm waiting on her.
Okay.
You guys live in Cobb? You're in the Cobb
More
area?
money.
Okay,
Alright.
that's awesome.
Everything that you're doing right now is building your life for the future. So just be remembering every day. If the day was too easy, you were too comfortable.
And Tony Robbins, I was listening to him the other morning, and I had to drive my son to work because he doesn't have a car right now. And so I'm like, he doesn't want to talk because he's grumpy. He's not a morning person. Has his coffee, and I'm like, he's 25, and I'm like, turn on something motivational. So I'm like, I can't. Like, I gotta be fed. And it's like, it's amazing how you can be in a bad mood and then you turn on just listening to it through your stereo in your car, you know, you listen to it and it's just like, it changes your whole mindset. And then you're like, oh, I can't wait to get to the office, start making those calls. Like, I'm gonna do this. And one of the things he said is discipline is not a bad word. It's become a bad word in our you know, society or whatever. Discipline is about being responsible, making good decisions. Hey, I'm not going out on Saturday night with the guys drinking beer, because you know what? I gotta get up. I got showing appointments. I gotta get it routed, mapped out. I'm going boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna sell a house tomorrow.
That's
If
it.
you go out on Saturday night, you're not gonna sell that house tomorrow.
That's right. Do you do script practice with anybody? Okay, so you guys will be open to doing script practice?
Every
You wanna
day.
do some script practice, Sarah?
We do that schedule every day.
Oh,
45?
when we go?
No, at 7:45, a partner, a script partner. Do you have a script partner right now?
Oh, only on Mondays and Wednesdays.
Okay, maybe we should think about doing that too. Alright?
Yeah.
Alright.
I was gonna add something to what you were saying about the affirmation service and something positive.
Yeah.
I've realized that, like, as soon as I was out of training, post-license training, I was like, oh, I am literally talking myself out of it.
Yeah.
And basically I talked, like, mentally, like, my mental state was like, so just like, oh, it's so easy to just talk myself out of it or go do something else. So I did some research and I found this theory. It's like, basically what people do, scientists do, they count to 5 mentally, and they're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then when you count to 5, you have to kind of like make a switch where you force yourself to think about something positive, or you force yourself to make that phone call. So it's like, I don't know why, but 5-second rule works. Like, it works for me. Like, I see a lot of change. Like, I just started doing it